Welcome back to the United Lens, and this is the last one of the season from me on United's 25-26 campaign. Tonight is the final show of the season, and I thought the right way to finish it, right, was for us to go through. Last night we done who we needed to keep, who we needed to go, and it was a very in-depth show. This one's a bit more reaction from you guys, but we will go through not just to look back on one more time, but to look forward properly, because whatever anybody thinks about the season we've just had, one thing is obvious: the squad still needs work, and this season really matters. And it seems United have already started early. So tonight's show is all about the transfer priorities. Like there's players we might say, oh, we really could do an extra striker or left winger, right winger, things like that. But first we start with the actual priorities. We all know what that means. Not just random names, not just the latest rumours for the sake of it, like you catch on most channels, and not just reading out a shopping list. This is about what Manchester United actually needs, what positions they have to be addressed, and what profiles are missing. Remember, the profile is the most important thing. The main words you always hear, are they a United player? And that's the only profile we talk about. But can they get from box to box? How fast are they? How physically strong are they? Can they deal with the mental abuse that it takes on your body and your actual mind playing for Manchester United, constantly in the spotlight, constantly expected to be a 10 out of 10. So we'll cover all of that, because for me, that's the key word tonight: priority. Every summer, people throw out 10 names, 12 names, 15 names. It just gets a bigger and bigger list, thanks to Ralph Ragnick and his open heart surgery comments years ago. And the conversation becomes just random noise. We're being linked with this player and some random player the week after next. And then day in, day out, it's a done deal. Oh, it's not a done deal. Oh, so-and-so's after this player. Oh, United are in for him. And we don't sign hardly any of these players. But good recruitment is not about collecting names, is it? It's about understanding the squad, understanding the weaknesses in that squad, and understanding the manager's demands, and them being ruthless about what comes first. Ruthless is not in Man United's nature for the last 15 plus years, I would say. So that's how we're going to do this tonight. We're going to go through the areas of the pitch. We're going to talk about where United are short, where they lack balance, where they lack a physicality, where the lack of control, and what brings the chaos to a lot of our games, right? The depth, I feel we might get back next season, but it will be youngsters. So will it be strength in depth? No, but there will be more depth than there has probably been for the last 2 or 3. And where the lack, they I don't like the words I'm about to use, but there's the only way to make sense. And where they lack the kind of quality that changes the level of the team. And from there, we talk about names being linked and ask the real question: does this actually make sense? You know, this player's name, what position they play, does that make sense when we have X, Y, and Z? Because there's a big difference between a player being a good player and a player being the right player for Manchester United right now. Some signings look exciting on social media. Don't get me wrong. There's names you just see linked with us year in, year out. And you go, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind him at United. But let's be honest, most of the time that doesn't happen because we've not been that attractive deal. But to solve the actual issue, some players might need not to be flashy names, but fit what the team really needs and what the manager wants in that aspect of his formation. And that's where I think this conversation gets really interesting, because recruitment's not just about talent. It's about the fit. It's about the structure. It's about the timing. And it's about whether a deal happens, building something, or just another name to an already unbalanced squad to put on the back of your shirt and sell, right? And where I want tonight's chat involved as well, because this is the final show of the season, and I want this to feel like a proper end of season football conversation. So get involved throughout. If United could only sign 3 players this summer, what 3 positions would you prioritise first? So notice I said 3 positions. So you can't just go for 3 midfielders. So think about the positions and have an actual proper think going, well, if we can only get 1 midfielder, 1 defender, one striker, left winger, right back, where do you feel we really need that extra cover? But not even names to start with, just the positions. Where do you think the rebuild really starts? Okay. Do we need a controller, a runner, a creator, or a backup creator? We already have the number 1 in the league. Where would you personally go first? Because by the end of tonight, what I want us to have is a much clearer picture of what a good summer actually looks like for Manchester United. Not perfect, not fantasy football, not 10 new signings, just a smart, coherent window that moves the team in the right direction. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the thumbs up, share the video if you want to, and get involved in the comments and the live chat. And let's finish this season in the right way. This is United's Lens, and tonight we're asking, who must United sign this summer? Okay. And most importantly, guys, remember, we're on the road to 200. We are off to a flyer. This is the last day of hitting a 150. And we're already plus 17, I think, into the next target. And we've still got this final show. So how many can we get new subscribers tonight that push us well ahead of the target for the next 3 months? So let's have a look. See who's in the chat tonight. I know other channels are live. And I know that potentially we'll have a lot of people coming over later on in the show. So straight in, Jamie Hughes is here. What you got to say, Jamie? Hey, Mark, you doing? Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good, mate. So midfield, left back, and striker, and I think they're the most standout ones, Jamie. The Shaw is an issue. We only have one out and out striker. And obviously, midfield is going to be the first one on everyone's list. So we're going to start the show with a sort of pre-prepared exclusive summary of what we need and looking at the players that we've already been linked to. So we will start with the midfield options, okay? You can tell from the thumbnail, if you saw the thumbnail, maybe you just jumped in live, that there's about 10 players we're constantly being linked with at the moment. And I think out of those 10, 5 of them could be realistic targets, absolute realistic targets. But I'll start with them in the sort of, how shall I put it? Best fit for the team. Should we start at the bottom? No, let's start at the bottom. Let's start at the bottom. Let's work our way to the best fits because it makes logical and start ruling people out. So I've gone on FootMob, I've gone on Sky Sports, other people like that, looking at stats, looking at how they've had their seasons, injuries, what the injuries are, and whether they've come back too soon from that injury and things that's kept them out. Carlos Baleba is number 1 on the list. I've got him as a project. The guy had an amazing season in 24-25, breakout season at Brighton. Then this season, 25-26, there's been a lot of questions. Brighton obviously have dropped him for a lot of games. And one of the main reasons given was we unsettled him with the links of him coming to us. Now, although I know that to be fairly true, what does that say about his mindset that he could be unsettled about a transfer link? Because what you would want, surely, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I want you to put yourselves in this position. If you're being linked with a club and the transfer window's closed, you've got to go out and show this is what you've missed. This is what you could have got, could have done better, everything like that. Okay. So for me, he's about a 6 out of 10 fit for Manchester United, because we talk about Premier League proven, we talk about ready-made projects, ready-made, perfect people to come in. Now, I got to admit, when he was first linked with us, I done some digging, and he only lives about 15 miles from my house. I know quite a few people that know a few of the newer Brighton players where they lived in the Sompton, Lancing areas close to the training ground. And absolutely, there was no contact with Manchester United to Brighton. It was all intermediaries at the start of the season. This is why I say about mindset. So this is someone that basically his agents made uncomfortable. And for me, that's an automatic no-go. Okay, so think about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys go, oh no, that can happen to any player. Yes, it can. But like I say, he's a 6 out of 10. Now the next one is Tonali. Now Tonali's a good all-rounder, less elite in chance creations and duels than the stat. A lot of people would have thought, but the stats don't lie. But he's high tempo, and United need tempo in their midfield. But the chance of us getting him, I put as a 6.5 out of 10. And the main reason being, I'm sure you're all aware, is the asking price. They've just sold Gordon, and Lewis Hall is rumoured to be looking for a move as well. And Tonali, Bruno G, and Joel Linton, in my eyes, is one of the best midfields in the Premier League. And if they can keep it together, Newcastle stay strong. If that starts breaking up, they're going to have to spend big to replace whoever was to go. So I don't see us getting Tonali, because I think 80 to 100 million, that money can be spent a lot better, probably on our one and two targets, okay, on this list. Now, as I'm going through this, I can imagine what you guys are thinking. God, I'm starting quite harsh, getting in there early. But guys, whichever player I mention, get in the chat and just give me your take. Go, well, I'm not sure you're quite right about that. I've watched bits of him, or I like he does this, he does that. But I literally have nothing bad to say about Tonali. I just think that he's going to be too expensive for, and like I say, that there are definitely two better options for the same money for Tonali. Now, the next one I've got on the list for midfielders is Morten Hjulman from Sporting. And I'm guessing a lot of you don't know much about him. We've been linked with him. The only thing a lot of people seem to remember is he's got a big Arsenal tattoo on his upper left bicep, I think it is. So it's hidden by the shirts. You can't see it. It's not like it's on his forearm. You'd be asking him to cover it up at United. That tattoo, I really don't care about. And I will say to any fan, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But there are certain things about Hjulman. He's great in duels. His pass, he keeps the ball. He picks the right pass. Always the right pass. But he's not the greatest at carrying the ball forward, which I don't mind, because he sort of sits. Now, I was on a show once and we looked at him stats-wise up against a Rodri. And you're probably already thinking, Mark's going mad here. What do you mean up against Rodri? Stats-wise, but it is for Sporting and in a lesser league, he covers pretty much what Rodri does. Areas, the way he sits, sweeps in front of that defense, everything that I could ask for. So for me, he would be a great signing as the lower end number 6, the Casemiro replacement. I think we could get him for 40 million, roughly. And I've rated him about a 7 out of 10 fit wise for Manchester United. Now, the reason I've only put him at a 7 and not higher when I actually think he's perfect is he has come from Sporting. He's had more good games in Champions League against like Man City, people like that. But when he played against the Norwegian side, he wasn't very good. And that was a game I thought he should have controlled. So that's just personal opinion, obviously. But you guys, let me know. What do you think? Have you heard of Morgan Hillman? If anyone watched sporting games and want to say, actually, yeah, no, he's a good fit. No, Mark, I think you've misprofiled that player. So, like I say, just let me know. Jump in, jump out. You don't have to be active all night in that chat, but your thoughts do matter to me anyway. And I know on a lot of channels they don't. Number 4 on the list, Matthias Fernandes. I've got to say it Fernandes because I can't say Bruno Fernandes and Matthias Fernandes. So we're going to have to call one Fernandes and one Fernandes. So it looks, if you listen to the media, he is the next midfield signing. And I quite like the idea of that. But he is, in my opinion, an energetic number 8 that can get back and cover alongside his holding midfielder, but he won't sit there for the whole game. And he does go roaming around the pitch freely. Probably against the manager's orders, if I'm honest, but he was good enough to try and win games for West Ham. Now, I think he's strong at winning the ball back in areas. And again, another safe passer. And unfortunately, the word safe tends to mean square, not progressive passing, not forward passing. But he doesn't want to be seen to be a player that gives the ball away. Now, I've also rated him as a 7 out of 10 chance for, like, fit-wise for United. And the main reason for that, I don't see him working with Cunha, Bruno Fernandes, and him when all three are sort of free spirits, loose cannons. And that could really upset the apple cart in how people push forward, passing patterns. Because when you receive the ball, you almost want to be able to play instantly with one touch because you know where someone's going to be because you've practiced it enough in training. And Fernandes doesn't. Well, neither Fernandes give us that. So to add another one into that sort of scenario wouldn't work for me personally from a coaching aspect. But I like his energy. I like his work rate. And that's what we need in our midfield more than anything is work rate currently. So let me know what you think about that. I'm just going to change the background on for us. Just give you a clearer look at the sort of players we're talking about. Hopefully, thinking about, I just need to apologise about last night's show. Idiot here made a few changes to the camera, as you do, right? And what did I go and do? I changed the profile of the camera quality from HD to the lowest setting, so you couldn't even read what was behind me, and that's my fault. I was running late, didn't have time to test it. Was thrown a little bit with the Champions League final and everything before shows, so I do apologise. Nothing I can do about it now, but you can see the quality's back. Everything should be readable. Now, you can see I've got top links, and you can see we've got like the main deals to watch and the chances of getting them deals, which is a big difference. Going forward, I think we could see up to five or six signings for Manchester United this season. Now, I originally said I didn't expect us to do more from 3, but I also didn't know about the bet. I think it's Betway training kit deal for next season. And it looks like we have also freed up another 200 million by paying off money on the old rotating credit card. So we're already at about 400 million available spend with the new financial fair play rules. So this is why the next few players I go through, I've chucked a curveball in here for the next player because, funny enough, someone mentioned left back. Lewis Hall, for me, is the number one left back Manchester United should go for. First and foremost, English, up and coming, and I think he would be a perfect fit. Now, you can see on the right-hand side, under the deal watch, I've also put Mohamed Diouf from West Ham. For obvious reasons, West Ham relegated. I think he has got a lot of talent, but I'm not sure he would dislodge Luke Shaw. Although he's a better crosser, more energetic, Luke Shaw has that experience. Now, when it comes to Lewis Hall, been playing Champions League, obviously well coached at Newcastle. Yes, he lacks experience, but I see him almost a carbon copy of a young Luke Shaw. Strong in progression of the ball up the wing, which we need, and solid defensively as well. Okay. And after his, we won't say transfer request, but his agent saying basically he's looking for a new challenge, I've got him at a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely something you go in and you bid for him and see what Newcastle say. And that is why I rated down Tonali, because we blatantly know that with Gordon going, Tonali's probably one of their best players behind Bruno G, that they wouldn't want to get rid of. Lewis Hall, well, they've got Dan Burn, the England man now, who can also play left back. So I think Hall would be a great option at left back. Then we go back to the midfielders because that's all everyone's talking about. Three midfielders. Adam Walton. Now, Liverpool, being the worst champions of the Premier League, were strongly linked with Adam Walton under Arne Slot. Now, with Slot gone, I think that gives us a very, very good chance to tempt Walton to us. He's going to go in under Iraola, who now he doesn't know how they're going to play. I think he would work under Iraola, but the original conversations were about him going to play for Liverpool Slot with these superstar players. Well, a lot of them are leaving, aren't they? Alisson's obviously done a U-turn because the manager's gone. So maybe that was another manager falling out. So again, you tempt the player, you put a bid in, and you want to see what he thinks, okay? In my eyes, deep playmaker, which we need. So progressive passing, line-breaking passes, second ball, put the ball back into the box, things like that. He plays really good, fast, sort of almost no-look passes, but they're not low-look. I would say he's the best scanner in the Premier League, constantly like that, head on a swivel, looking everywhere over the pitch. Just knows where everyone is. And to bring someone in who can create chances from deep, Bruno Fernandes doesn't have as much pressure on him. And if we are to believe what he said in his Diary of a CEO interview, he's not about the stats. Great. He'll accept more help and let other people create chances. So for me, I've got him now currently, Walton, at an 8 out of 10. Perfect fit for Man United almost. But again, that is that sort of 6 to 8 hybrid build. So if you wanted a box-to-box 8, you would definitely have Walton with him. And when the 8 who goes box-to-box needs that breather, Walton can step forward and take the ball on. Now, another hybrid, 6-8, seems to be our first signing. If we're all to believe it, within the next week, Ederson signs for Manchester United. Now, I've been looking at Ederson for 3 to 4 years. And I don't understand why Atalanta didn't cash in on him earlier. But they chose to sell other players for more money and keep hold of him. So in my eyes, Ederson is very balanced. Okay, great presser, win back the ball, workhorse, but he is not the six destroyer. Maybe a lot of us think we want, but we don't know what midfield style the manager is going to want. Under Carrick, he might not want a six at all. He might want 2 8s that can defend and just patrol in front of the midfield. Okay. So I've got him as a balanced carrier of the ball, passer, and sort of chance support. Now, what I mean by chance support is he'll win the ball back and pass it straight away to, say, a Walton or Bruno Fernandes to create another opportunity. He won't create the opportunity himself. He doesn't really score goals. He just wants to get his tackle in, get the ball back, and give it to someone who can. And now, when we're talking about profile of players, that's what you need. You need someone who just wants to do a certain role on the pitch and then give the ball to someone better. Now, growing up, in my experience, Real Madrid have done this the best as ever. Casemiro to Toni Kroos to Luka Modric, or the Makelele when he roll at Chelsea/Real Madrid to Zidane. That's just what I did. I got the ball back, give it to someone. You go do something with it. I'll get the ball back again. So it's something we've been screaming for as fans. So let's see what he can do. Now, this whole thing about, I've seen the narrative now on multiple channels about, but it's the Italian league coming to us. Why would we be linked with Tonali if the Italian league's not good enough? Tonali came from the Italian league. Okay. Think about other players that have come from the Italian league and done well. They're not all flops. Chiesa went to Liverpool. We knew he was going to be a flop, but in general, they're not flops. They're very defensive minded. They're very methodical, and they do a really good job. Right. So we'll just hold that there before we move into the final two for the midfield. And these are the big two for the perfect fits for Manchester United. Right. So it's funny enough, Haas. Welcome to the show tonight, my man. This is the next thing I'm about to go into. Is Tonali off now? We only go back in if Madrid sign a midfielder. Madrid will sign a midfielder. Trust me. I don't really want a destroyer. Someone who can control the tempo. Yes, that's the most important thing. And which Kobe Mainoo does struggle with, or maybe the shield to cover for him. Now, Kobe Mainoo cannot get box to box. So my biggest thing for him is he needs to, you can't make him fitter. He can last 90 minutes, but he needs to be more selective in his runs. He needs to know that he can't just push forward willy-nilly if he can't get back. And that's something you learn through games. Evening, Trev. Good evening, sir. What have we got from Trev? He says, evening, Mark. What you think about the Cunha getting the 9 in the Brazil squad for the World Cup? Big boots to fill and big call. But where will he play? Will he be like Gabriel Jesus? He'll be a false 9. It's a massive, massive honour to be given the Brazilian number 9 shirt. We all know what that means in Brazil. It's like the 10 shirt in Argentina. It's like England's number 9 for us. For Man United, it's the 7. But I was surprised. But if you think about, I didn't think they'd give it to Thiago from Brentford. Although if there's anyone more deserving of it currently in form, it would have been him. But Cunha's been in and around the squad constantly. I don't know, 3-4 years. Not really getting his chance. Good return this year, goal-wise. 10 goals for us in an underperforming attack. Let's be honest. But it is a massive call for Brazil. But Trevor, I'm happy for that from my point of view. If he is the number 9 and England are playing Brazil, I'm okay about that. That wouldn't worry me. We know everything's going to go down their left through Finney. Oh no, hang on, wait. Finney didn't get called up. No Real Madrid players got selected for the World Cup, did they? So that's same with France. No Mbappe, although I think Mbappe's probably getting a phone call tomorrow morning once Dembele's gets dropped or pulled out the squad, or at least for cover. Cunha would have been would have a great World Cup. He is the guy now. Oh, okay, Haas. Okay, I see you. If they could give it to Endrick, who they love, everyone. Even I. Now, Endrick is where I was sort of thinking. He obviously went on loan to Lyon. Was it Lyon or Lille? I can't remember which one of them. Was phenomenal. Great return for him. But again, maybe too young. And that's why I say it makes the sense to give it to Cunha. But I agree. Endrick could be the next big thing out of the Brazilian team that we know of currently. Right, let's get back to the last two midfielders. Now, we'll start with Elliot Anderson. Now, Elliot Anderson is all action. You know, is he a 6? Is he an 8? He's definitely a hybrid of that. Number 1 in the Premier League for like midfielders, in my opinion, last season. I think he was like the top 1 or 2% in possession wins in the Premier League. Progressive passing as well, right up there in the top 90%. I think, again, with Pep going, you go and test the waters. If you want this guy, and they say it's 80 million, you pay the 80 million. With a player like Elliot Anderson, who's the number 1 in the Prem, you don't query the price. They say 80, you say, do you want that in cash or check? You just pay it, get the job done. I think he's a perfect fit. I would love our midfield 3 that we buy to be Walton, Anderson, Ederson with Kobe Mainu. Then you've got a choice of an England midfield 3 that would just be working for everyone, which is what Man United was built on that. Okay. You look back through the years with our midfielders, we've always had England's midfielders and we've always had their centre backs as well, or defenders. And we need to get back to that. Now, I know that goes against me saying about Morton Hillman, but Elliot Anderson might go for the money to City, and you know, if that's the kind of player he turns out to be, good riddance. You know, personal opinion, good riddance. But I've put it out as an 8.5 out of 10. I think you can go and get him now. With Pep leaving, the original conversations, there was no talk about Pep leaving. They're not going to have said it, so he would have thought he'd come in. Now, we've just spoke, or the next player we speak about, there's a bit of a merry-go-round here with midfielders. So, Tchouaméni is the number 1 on my list. He is a 9 out of 10, perfect fit for Manchester United, perfect replacement for Casemiro, as he was Casemiro's replacement at Real Madrid. Jules, you know, passing, absolute monster. Progression, wins the ball in the air. He will shine in the World Cup. I'm telling you now. Unless France has one of those tournaments where they play as individuals, I think Tchouaméni had the potential to be a different kind of Paul Pogba. Him and Paul Pogba would have been the perfect midfield duo in a 4-4-2 back in the day that France would have loved. Okay. Now, he is the elite number 6, I think, in Europe on his day. And that's the problem I've got to say on his day. He's had a lot of injuries, and I think they have been hamstrings, but his recovery time has not been long enough for what I would have liked. And I think that is been a problem with Real Madrid for the last 2 years. They've had a lot of injuries. This season alone, I think Tchouaméni's played at left backs, holding midfielder, left wing, in literally every aspect in the central midfield. I don't think he went out to the right, but he is left-footed. he's just the perfect fit. But as I just said, there's a bit of a merry-go-round going on here because Rodri wanted the Madrid move. Enzo Fernandez is hyped up to be coming in as a holding midfielder under Maresca at Man City. Now, Anderson and Rodri, and then they're going to look at it and go, "Oh, well, hang on, you're only going to play one holding midfielder." And if Rodri's not going to go to Madrid, because I don't see Mourinho wanting him personally, with the knee injuries, the drop off in the amount of games he's had, he hasn't had a great recovery. So you got to look at maybe they do it and pull the medical. That could happen. Now that means that Tchouaméni's won't be available, as Haas said in his comment. So that merry-go-round will have a massive knock-on effect, and that's why I say potentially we could go after Anderson, but we need to just pay the money. Now, Tchouaméni could be 80, 90, 100 million. Anderson could be 80, 90, 100 million. You just do it. You got the best in the Premier League or the best in Europe. And there's no reason you can't go for both at the same time and then just pull out of one deal. As long as you're not going for any other players from that club where you're going to upset the club, which I don't think we would. There's nothing wrong. You've got to test their resolve and see if we free those players up. Now, let's just have a quick look at what you say. Yes, Leon. Anderson is Premier League proven, and that's half the battle right there. Exactly, Trevor. That is massive. But Tchouaméni is just Champions League proven. 1 minute title, international, top of his game. It's definitely the kind of player you bring into the Premier League who hits the ground running for those reasons. Now, no matter who we get, Bruno needs a lot of the burden taken away from him as everything goes through him over and over again. He will then score a lot more also. That's why we need a better creating number 8, or we need to say, Kobe, you need to start creating chances. Wingers, you need to start putting crosses in. The overlaps, that's why I mentioned Lewis Hall on the left, because I felt like Luke Shaw wasn't capable of doing that. And we need it on the right as well. Mazraoui will give us that. Dalot does not. Could be great. Now, Tchouaméni and Valverde have supposedly made up. PR stunt 100%. You cannot knock someone clean out and have no repercussions. Tchouaméni's bid needs to be explored ASAP. Exactly. Just go find out the real reason. Christy Brown was also left-footed, Mark. Very true. Mourinho will bring negative football back to Madrid as if it isn't negative already. You've got to remember, he's a successful manager at Madrid, but he had one Mr. Ronaldo there, and now he's got a Mr. Mbappe. So with Vinny and Mbappe, if you can play negative football that soaks it up and you counter-attack with them, they've got the power, they've got the pace. And I think Valverde, Mbappe, and Vinny firing on all cylinders could become a threat again. But it's a big if, isn't it? So that rounds off, if you like, the left-hand side, right-hand side, where I sort of say, he's a perfect fit, but he's a more obvious availability-wise. So Tchouaméni, number 1 fit. Edison looks like it'll be a done deal. Come in. So that's what I would say. Edison's done. So we're looking for 2 more midfielders. For me, you guys, as always, I've noticed you guys in the chat, spot on. Tchouaméni should really be off the table with a new manager and things like that. You've got to go just put 80, 90 million down on Elliot Anderson ASAP and just test the water. If he says no, he says no, right? And that's fine, because then you just move away. And then you go for Tchouaméni. Because after you go for if you go for Elliot Anderson for 70, 80 million, the next top midfielder you go for in the Premier League, they're going to want the same money and you'll overpay. So that's where your negotiation skills really do need to come in. And it's one of the things we've got to be tested. I'm still not sure we've got that negotiation skills at Manchester United. Now, when it comes to sort of the attributes we need currently in the team, I don't like names. I care about who can do what on the ball, and I sort of built up a list of the weaknesses I've seen only under Carrick, because Carrick changed the team massively, right? And we can all agree to that. Well, I hope we all agree to that. So I hope there's no real negativity towards Carrick, because with what we had, he done miracles. Trevor says Mbappe, Infinity, Areno, Ronaldo, and Benzema and Bale when he was on fire. Exactly. Tchouaméni is more of what develops. He will see in 2 months. Exactly. Yeah, I agree, Haas. He's off to the World Cup now. Time's a good healer, although we're not talking about relationships. Right now, one of the biggest flaws we've got for leading in Manchester United is winning the ball back. People counter on us and we don't seem to stop them. We seem to force them wide and force them into mistakes, block shots. Yes. We don't seem to stop the counter very quick. So pure ball winning ability, 3 names stuck out for me. Tchouaméni, Baleba and Anderson, when you look at their stats. Okay. Edison can do that high up the pitch. But as I said, he's not that aggressive sitter for winning it back. And it's about how high up the pitch you can do it. Tchouaméni dominates the drills. Baleba and Anderson score really high in the percentiles in the Premier League for progression 1 back. Baleba's are a little bit thrown out because minutes played this season, it's probably helped his stats a little bit. Now, the next one is controlling the passing. We move the ball way too slow. We all know we cannot break down a low block. Now, and to do that, we need to move the ball better through our midfield. Once it's, we can get it from the keeper out to, say, a Martinez, and he punches it into someone in midfield. And then it seems to slow down. We don't know. We just look for Bruno Fernandes. And if the pass isn't on to Bruno, what do I do? Where passing control, again, Tchouaméni up here. Now, I would say with a Walton for progressive passing control. Now, I'm going to chuck progressive passing in there because I think it gives a more sort of balanced thing to look at. But Tchouaméni, 96th percentile in forward passing, 99th forward pass accuracy, and 89th in progressive passing. So when that guy gets the ball, it goes forward and it goes into feet and it finds its player, which is why I say he's the number 1 person we need. But we can agree right now, he might be perfect, but his probability is one of the lowest. Progressive passing, Anderson, Walton. 95 percentile for Anderson, 92 for Walton in the Premier League. Perfect. See why those two would work so well together. Whoever gets the ball, they find someone. Trevor, you have just said you need to take the pressure off of Bruno Fernandes. That's why those two as a hybrid 6-8 playing together alongside each other for Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes in front of them now gives you instantly 3 people who can play those progressive passes. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Haas, was it you last night or the night before was talking about Mason Mount and how good he actually looked when he was on the ball, passing the ball out from the 6 role or the double pivot, we'll call it, in the last 2 games. That's what you would get with an Anderson and Walton. You wouldn't need to necessarily just progress it because you can find the runners like a Cunha and a Mbeumo. Find Bruno Fernandes in the pocket. He wouldn't need to drop in. He could play in between them, their CDM and their centre back, and you can push the striker further on. It just makes sense, guys. Chance creation from midfield, Walton is right up there, 95th percentile. And when I say from midfield, that is more your centre circle, midfield third. So he can play a ball over the top, find the runners better than pretty much anyone. The only player sort of above him would be your De Bruyne's, your Bruno Fernandes, people like that. So to have 2 of the best in the league, like I say, I'm going to keep saying it, make sense why we wouldn't be putting the bids in instantly. He's now a European winner, unlike the Arsenal fans can say. Walton, London team, another London team that wins a European trophy. What we had in the last few years: West Ham, Crystal Palace, Tottenham. No, Arsenal's not on that list. So carrying the ball though, Edison, 72 percentile. In Italy though, now Italy's a chess game. It's very hard to carry the ball because what they do, they get back in their blocks and they're very well drilled, and they'll foul you with sort of silly little fouls. So he does a good job there. And that's what we've got to be looking at for him. Now, if you want a balanced midfield profile, that's Edison again. Huge weakness across the progressions, but carrying the ball, passing and key passes is great. I don't want a midfielder that runs with the ball, because if he loses it, it's a big hole that he leaves, right? Think of our best ever midfield. Doesn't matter how old you are. You could be a Carrick midfield. You could be a Roy Keane midfield, a Paul Scholes midfield, a Ryan Giggs midfield, Brian Robson midfield. One person keeps the ball ticking. One person feeds the ball, cross-field passes, feeds it through. And that's just with two midfielders. So if you add the third in there, you just find that person on the ball. Now, Lewis Hall, I'll just chuck in there. Strong all-round balance. The only other thing is Desiree Doué from West Ham, whose crossing is up there as one of the best in the league for chance creations for a left-back. Now, Baleba is probably our most risky and raw player. Excellent destroyer traits. And we all talk about a destroyer. But poor progression and chance creation. So if he gets the ball, he stays deep, which means we play 5 at the back and 5 in attack. That's sort of the way you would split the team up. He doesn't come forward. He doesn't really pick it up. But he's not scared to have a shot if it breaks on the edge of the box, and he can take a touch and unleash one from 25, 30 yards. And normally good accuracy as well. Now, that pretty much wraps it up, as you can see, the players that I went through. Now, I want to get on to you guys and your players, what you're thinking about. And you can start bringing in names, and we'll go over them. And what I want, more importantly, is sensible, realistic targets. And we're going to start with attackers, strikers. I'm going to give you one I feel we could, again, go after, and maybe we'll call it unsettle. But I also want free transfers. Anyone you can think of. Maybe you've heard them on other channels. Get them in a chat and let's get talking about them. So let me just put this down there. Right, guys, let's have a look. What you guys are doing. So Trevor said about the midfielders, do any of them score headed goals like Casemiro? Pretty much no. Casemiro, it was not a normal guy in that area. Small midfielder that seems to jump like he's got a jetpack and score the winners. So we will be... That's why you need that trade-off, Trev. It's okay to lose Casemiro's goals if the person we bring in is creating chances and we put away more goals for our strikers, right? So you've got to there's got to be a transference of those chances. Yeah, Doué's the winger at PSG, and I do constantly get him. It's Diouf I'm thinking of. Diouf at West Ham. I want to see what you think about Mateus Fernandes. Links yesterday for winger at Lille, and we can get to massive. Now, I don't rate him that highly. I'm going to give you a reason why. We, as a fan base, are anxious about the last player we brought in who sort of fits his mold. And of course, that is our most, I should say, our most second creative player in Dorgu, right? France is one thing that they're not great fullbacks. There's a reason PSG win the league every year and smash everyone in those aspects. For me, wide play is all about getting the crosses in, beating your player, getting to the byline. So I will have a quick look about him now. Matty. So let me just quickly grab his details up. And we'll see exactly what people are saying about him. I believe he's potentially, well, I was going to say potentially cheap, but once Man United's name gets linked with him, that's it. His price will probably more than double, and that makes a problem. So instantly you start going, no, not going to go for him. Right, here we go. He is young. Mateus Fernandes Pardo. Let's have a quick. Let me have a quick look at his stats. So, Belgian born, citizenships with Spain or Belgium. They've got him a right-sided attacking forward now. So basically, that would put him in the Ahmed and Bumo sort of role, and then obviously we want to bring through Shea Lacey. They're saying 30 million euros for his transfer value, which isn't great, but like you can guarantee that's 40, 50 million if Man United come in for him. They say he can play either side, left or right wing, or through the middle, which I find really weird because I'm looking at how he performs stats-wise. Goals, so 29 games, 8 goals, 5 assists. So he doesn't create many for a wide player. And if they were playing him through the middle, 8 goals in 29 games is... You'll be lucky if he scores 3 goals in the Premier League. Because let's be fair, if the Farmers League and you're only getting 8 goals, that's not a very good return. Also, 5 yellow cards. So feisty young one. He's only 21. So prospect for the future, maybe. He'd be one to keep a watch on, Haas, I would say. He's one you need to keep a watch on and see what happens. Sesko will get the 9 shirt for United as Højlund's gone. Yeah, I believe so. If he wants it, or we bring in an out-and-out number 9. But yeah, it's a known fact, Trevor. As soon as there's not a Man United fan out there who doesn't understand the fact. As soon as United are linked with a player, bang, the price goes through the roof, and for no reason at all, apart from us being linked. I would like to see us put something in for a Vlahovic. I've said that from day one. I think he could work for us. He is on a free transfer from Juventus unless he signed a new contract. But as far as I'm aware, he's actually out of contract at the end of June. It might even be the end of this month. It might be today. I don't think it is, though. I think it's the end of June, 31st of June. I don't see why we wouldn't try and bring in a striker on a free transfer. He was once one of the hottest targets, and it hasn't worked for him at Juventus. But there's been many a player that's not worked at Juventus. As a team, they've fallen off a cliff from what they once were. I love that shout. This one's great. We'll cover that one next. HRBTW, or HR, by the way. That's a great shout, and I totally agree with you. I wouldn't touch Liao with a barge pole. Let me just go with the striking options. For me, if we're going to spend big and we're going to go towards the 3, 4, 500 million, we are capable of doing that, guys. That's only 100 million that we would spend cash out this season, because it will be spent over 5-year deals at 20 million per player. So you could spend 500 million on 100 million on 5 players, and you pay 20 million. So you can make it happen. I would go and see if Ivan Toney wants to come back. Now, does that mean Sesko plays off of the bench? Yes. But it means Mbumo has someone he's used to playing with. Ivan Toney is a goal machine. We've picked him for the England squad. I don't care what anyone says, that the Saudi league is better than a lot of people give it credit for. Top goal scorer over there. That's just personal opinion. I just think he would fit Man United's way of play. Forget about the betting scandals. I'm telling you now, more than half the Premier League place bets under other people and things like that. Accas are a done thing for nearly every footballer I've ever met in my life. Just they don't place them themselves. So it happens. So let's go back to Tyler Dibben. It was 100 million for us. Yeah, exactly. I prefer Ndiaye over Leao. I think that's a great shout. Now, Ndiaye, raw. Sometimes I'm not sure he knows what he's doing with the ball, but that big stamp, Trevor's already brought it out many a time tonight. Boom, stamp of approval, Premier League proven, right? It's one of the most important things we can say. He's Premier League proven. He's done the job. And could he step up at the next level? Maybe. And we are the next level for him. Why is my camera dropped down? Bear with me, you guys. I'm just going to have a little beam me up, Scotty. Let's put me there. So I love that shout, BTW. I'm just going to call you HR. I love a bit of HR at the moment. Long story, but for me, personal funny one. So first time I've seen you in the chat, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Your thoughts will be taken on board here and we'll discuss them. What does anyone else think about Ndiaye from Everton? I think there'll be a perfect shout. I think there are other left wingers out there potentially we could go for if you wanted to. And this is where it comes back to not really having the trust in Dorgu. But we haven't given him a fair crack of the whip. But if we were to bring a left winger in, they would start, which means where does Cunha play? Does Cunha go to the bench? Are we happy about Cunha going to the bench? So that's my sort of. We'll play a bit of tennis about the left wing, guys. Throughout this chat, constantly keep coming back at me about the left wing. Leao makes no sense because you drop Cunha. A left winger replacement doesn't make sense. Doesn't mean it's not needed. Okay. Says also for Leao, he has had a bad season and has publicly said he wants to leave. So why can't we do a loan plus option like Barca done with us? I'm going to applaud that because you're right. Why do we never look at that market properly? I think the last player we've done was under Ten Hag and it was Sabitzer. Was Sabitzer? Yeah, Sabitzer. I think we looked at having an option to buy him and also the holding midfielder. Didn't play him in holding midfield ever. Amrabat. We had an option on him. That's the only time I've ever remember United doing a loan with options to buy. And that's because we didn't want to spend any money. So that's a great shout. If we have no money left, then and get Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck signed a new contract at Brighton. So no chance. Danny, welcome. I'm guessing either Tactical Devils has finished or has got boring. Welcome in there, sir. Ivan Toney, no way, Trevor says. Proved he's all about the money going to Saudi. Yeah, but it's all about... Why wouldn't you be? He was at Brentford. It wasn't like he was at a top club, and no one actually from a top club put a bid in for him. Saudi came in with the money. Go get paid. But I think for him to stay tax-free, he has to play 2 seasons there. So that's one thing. He would have to pay the tax on the money. So that's one of those things that I'm gonna little bit of knowledge I'll give all of you. When someone goes off to Saudi and they want to come straight back, notice they'll play two seasons there to get their money tax free, and then they'll come back. So it's a little bit of a cheeky one, but let's be funny. Who here doesn't go to work to get paid? And would you take a big job for more money if it was 3 times what you were earning? Of course you would. Anyone says they wouldn't either has their dream job or they're self-employed. Do you think Ineos want a backup or someone to compete with Sesko? They have to. There is no one out there in the boardroom who is going to say, oh, yeah, let's go in with one proven striker in Sesko. Manager wants to get rid of Xerxes. And we've got Obi in the 21s. You can't do that. Sesko gets injured. We play Mbumo. Like a couple of injuries when we start going to 50, 60 games per player, you need cover. You need it. You need it. And it needs to be someone, I think, proven. And if it wasn't Ivan Toney, I would go for another Brentford striker and go for Thiago. I really would. I think to get over 20 goals like he did for Brentford, they're a selling club. Again, go in with a decent offer. Don't take the piss. And see if you can get him out. Because I think if you go in with a decent offer, it unsettles him and he'll want to come. Cunha's at the club. You know, Edison will be at the club. 3 Brazilians. Great. It works up here in my head. Works on paper for the kind of front man we need. Works for Sesko. Those two can learn and play together. But I still feel we need an experienced striker. An older one. I would have taken Vardy all day, won a free transfer at the end of the season to bring in to work with the younger strikers. Liao, he's another Rashford in disguise. Yes, that's the best way to describe him, Trevor. I agree. Ndiaye is great, but his end product is iffy. I will play Cunha over him still. Yeah, I think we must have been looking at Ndiaye when we were looking at Cunha. And I think that's a very, very astute way of putting it. Prefer to go big on a left back and striker, Danny says. Me too. Dorgu is technically not a left winger. He's forced there as he was brought in as a left back or left wing back. But he was a right forward, Trev. For Lecce, he was a right front forward where Mbumo plays. Denmark play him as a left winger. So he definitely can do it. That's why a striker is more of a priority than a left winger. Exactly. I love how United play take me home before kickoff. Imagine Champions League nights. We won't have to imagine it, HR. That's the most important thing. We won't be imagining it. And next season, you'll be able to see it right here. We'll be doing all the previews and that. Maybe to my man who has just jumped in, Tactical Devils TV. If you stay live for 10 more minutes, I will raid you with 85 viewers. Yes, Jarvis will do it. That man will most likely do watch-alongs for the Champions Leagues. And they're bloody good. They're great. It's something he's good at. You don't get Mark Goldbridge sitting there in silence, looking and reading and things like that. So definitely worth a go. But, Champions League back is the most important thing. It's not like Tony was on the breadline. He's proved he has no ambition to win the biggest trophies. Of course, we all want more money, but he will still. So, Trev, you're entitled to your opinion. My opinion of Ivan Toney is started low down. The guy suffers from scoliosis, curvature of the spine. To make it to the top level of the Premier League playing like that is excellent. International, still going at Saudi. His career could be over at any point. Okay. When we look at someone like De Ligt with a simple back injury and we're not sure we're getting him back, I would put Ivan Toney in that. He never knew when football's going to end for him. Newcastle fucked him around big time and pretty much let him go because of his back. He went down to the lower levels, brought himself back up with Brentford through the leagues, was right there as top goal scorer every season, and he took the payday. Like I said, medical-wise, things like that, people probably didn't want to take the risk on him. But what he did, he learned how to get stronger, how to do his job, not give up. Okay, he betted, and I personally really don't care about that. It's not like he bet all his money away, went bust, and he was still playing, right? If he has no money when he gives up, that's on him. That's personal problems, right? Do we want that? No, of course not. We want to help people. Definitely someone like me as a coach, I'll be like, mate, what are you doing? Like that money, set it up. If you want to bet, do it in a different name, but only put $5,000 on a game. It's peanuts when you think of what they earn. And that's not me condoning betting, but I'm telling you, more than half the Premier League are betting under other names. Okay. They shouldn't be allowed to buy into horse races and things like that. Still betting just because they're betting on football. That creates a habit. And you start betting on this, and then you might bet on another thing. And eventually you'll find your way back to betting on football matches. This guy was betting on him to score. He wasn't on betting on the other team to win against Brentford. He was saying, I will score the first goal. I will score 20 goals a season. So I quite like that. But Trevor, you're totally entitled to your opinion. You know that from me. I just look at what he would bring football-wise and forget the rest. I think he would help out our front line. Haas says, what do I think about Watkins? Is a shout. They're in the Champions League, so no, it's not a shout. They're still in the Champions League by winning Europa, so I wouldn't really go for him. He's too hit and miss. Am I going to go live tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Monday night, HR. I will be on Tactical Devils doing Jarvis's Corner. And then Tuesday night, I will be live with a preview for the... Is it preview for the England game I've got scheduled in? I can't remember and I can't check. It's on our YouTube page. Let's just have a quick look. I am live next week for three shows. It's all on the so we're doing World Cup. That's why this is the last Man United one. We'll move into the England games and the whole World Cup as a whole, looking at it through United lens, looking at the United players, focusing on them, and obviously me being English, I will focus on the England games. But we have currently scheduled a Tuesday night, we'll do the preview for the New Zealand game. And then Saturday night, I'll do a quick scorecard after, and we'll do the review show of the New Zealand game after that. And by then, I will give you the games out for the 10th as well. Against, who are we playing? Croatia? No. Can't even think who we're playing in the next game. In the warm-up games, always live, 3 shows a week, minimum now, going forward. But every Monday night, I do Jarvis's Corner on Tactical Devils, where you get multiple people's takes. So come over there, subscribe for that as well. But HR, make sure you've hit the notification bell, and when you've subscribed, and you'll find out whenever I'm going live. I put my content up in advance, so whenever you're on YouTube, you can just click on the channel and have a look. And if you're not sure, get in the community, leave me a message, and I'll get back to you. I will always respond to you guys if you send me a message. Do you know about AJ Analyze? I've heard the name. I have heard the name, but I'm not going to lie to you and say, yeah, I know who he is. I've heard it. I've seen it, but it's not jumping out at me at the moment. I was watching him, and I agree. A premium winger takes our attack to another level. A premium left winger does, only because Cunha cuts in, and we need to keep width, because then that creates more space in the midfield. We narrow too much, and that's a problem. Mark, how's the new coaching role going? Trevor, coaching went well today. So I was at tournament with 3 different teams today in the inclusive tournament. My team came second in the group, only conceded 1 goal. Unfortunately, it was to our other team, who it was a mistake at the back and it was the only goal, like I say, we conceded. But that team went on to win the tournament under them. And then I stayed for the latter half for the more basically, we have a championship team. We have a Div 1 team and then a Div 2 team, and we work down divisions. Div 1 is people like with Downs, things like that. Championship is more going to be your able to play, but maybe learning difficulties, things like that. So it's about how you treat them. I really enjoyed the whole day with all three of the teams. First time I've got to see them play, and the stuff we worked on in the first 2 weeks of me coaching with them, I could see them doing it. So I'm really looking forward to going through. I got a lot of respect, and you just get a lot of self belief in what you do and the way you explain it. Because when you see everyone else picking it up, having done under 18s and worked with enough adults in my life who don't listen, it's nice to hear people that do. I watch United People's TV a lot. Yeah, no, he's great. Obviously, I know he's just got married, and obviously, I don't think he's back to his normal show routine now. Very good. I like the in-depth stuff. Love to get to his level or work with him. But HR, Tonali or Anderson, if you had to pick one, Anderson. I don't need to think about it. Anderson for me is number one in the thing. Trev, thanks, mate. So let's get rid of that because I know it messes my camera up sometimes by staying on the YouTube page. We've talked about a left winger. We've talked about a striker. Obviously, midfield, we've talked to death about, and I get that. And I have my midfield three. HR, I'll tell you my midfield because you are new. For me, the perfect matchup for me, I think we can get done is Ederson, Walton, and Anderson. With a Kobe Mainu as a 4, I think we can play 2 holding, an 8 and a 6, 2 8s. It'll just give us full rotation through the middle on all aspects of it. And I would go pay 250 million to make that happen because let's be fair, it's the biggest problem. Evening, Dave. I think we've got 500 million to spend. So if we spend 250 million on our midfield, we can literally shore up every other aspect that we're going through. For me, I agree, and it's been said tonight, left wing is a priority because we don't know when Luke Shaw's going to go down for the next long period of time. But there's another priority that has arisen that is probably more than number one now over Luke Shaw, and that's a centre-back. So we all know Harry Maguire extended his contract. We all know that Harry is probably in the air the best defender in the league by far. Martinez, I can't trust the guy to stay fit. There is then obviously De Ligt, 6 to 8 months away from probably even getting back into a starting 11 game. De Ligt, I wish all the best. And I hope this guy proves me wrong, but I think his career could be over. Like Malacia, one wrong operation or one operation too many, you're done and dusted as a footballer. Your body is your work tool, isn't it? It's like me, if I damage my hands, been working in mechanical engineering, I'm screwed. My brain still works, but I physically won't be able to do it. So once the body starts going, there's no stopping it. 9 times out of 10. We all know about the mighty Ryan Giggs and how he extended his career with yoga and stretching and that. And as stupid as it sounds, I totally believe it is a way forward. We have Euro, we have De Ligt. We spoke about them last night and what I would do by loaning out Euro and playing Heaven. So Euro actually gets a full season of game time. HR Maguire and Martinez have been a great partnership. I agree. But Martinez's heading ability, when we looked at it last night, and if you haven't seen it, go back. It's a long show and it is a watch. I'll put the chapters in now. But we break down where Martinez is. Like, I hate Jamie Carragher, but one thing he was right about is Martinez can't head the ball. Like, he can win a header if the other person doesn't jump, but if they're going up, he ain't got a hope in hell in winning it. I think that we need to sign a centre back. Now, I said, and I will keep saying it, Ed, again, Senesi, free transfer from Bournemouth, pre-contract with Tottenham. Right, Tottenham almost got relegated. You telling me if we gave him an offer, he'd still choose Tottenham over us? Maybe. If it depends on what gentleman handshake means to him, but no one else had come in for him. I rate him. I like him. We know he's highly coachable under when he was under Iraola. And let's be fair, with him now going to Liverpool, that's going to be one hell of an interesting summer with Liverpool, because he will want totally different kind of players to what they've had before. And it will answer the question of whether we made a mistake or we got away with one with him over Michael Carrick, which a lot of you have in the chat has said that maybe Iraola should be someone we take. Hot Bakim Yoga is better for long-term benefits. Exactly. Senesi is left-footed, and that's why he would work as a replacement for Martinez when Martinez constantly goes down injured. But Aidan Heaven is left-footed, so I get that. And it does seem there's a lot of good available left-footed centre-backs, not so many right. Fredrickson, a lot of injuries. Doesn't look like that's going to work out for him. And I wish him all the best. I wouldn't be surprised if he either gets sold or goes on loan next season. Yoro, like I said, I need him playing every game of a season for him to get better now. It worked for Saliba. It's worked for many a centre-back. Go on loan for 1-2 seasons. Still stay with us. Know you're on loan at a decent level club. So I am talking La Liga, Syria, A, or anyone like that. If you can get him into a European team, even better. And no, like, Harry Maguire's got 1 year left on his contract. We're going to start Harry over you. But we're not going to extend Harry Maguire's contract again. You will come in, but then both of you get to play full seasons. And you look for a replacement for Harry in the loan department or the free transfer department. That's my opinion of how we should be working as a team. Now, are there some centre-backs we could go out and maybe buy? Anderson from Fulham would be my number one choice. I absolutely love him. Loved him at Crystal Palace. I rated him much higher than Mark Gay, but Gay's come on leaps and bounds. John Stones, that would be hilarious. We tried John Stones on a free transfer, but injury prone again. Only just under 400 minutes played. You know, are there any right-footed centre-backs out there that you guys think? I can see one from Danny, which is a great shout. Lecroix, as I call him, Recoy. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyone who's got Crow in their name and then they got an X, I'm screwed. It's just not pronunciating in my brain with my dyslexia, right? The biggest question, did you beat him, seeing as it was many moons ago? Was it a full moon? Lecoy from Palace wants to leave. He does want to leave, but I think he's misjudging Palace. Palace took their foot off the pedal to guarantee a trophy. Their first ever European trophy, their first ever trophy last year in a FA Cup, but manager's gone. So you don't know what that's going to mean for him. He would be a good asset to the team. Definitely. I like that shout. Let's have a look. Van Heck. Yeah, Danny Van Heck into last year. Rumour is Van Heck could be going to Tottenham. De Zerbi brought him in at Brighton, so therefore that might be why he goes. But Van Heck in the last 5-6 games at Brighton has not been great. So I'm not sure about that. We always struggle against the low block teams. And the reason for that is we don't have enough creators. When you only got to shut down Bruno Fernandes and get everyone back behind the ball, the more creative midfielders we have, hence I will keep going back to this, a Walton, an Anderson, a Bruno Fernandes against a low block team. They can hit the ball. Look at Anderson's balls in against us. where it's just they were whipped in, back behind. They're tapping for anyone who wants to be aggressive and score goals. Mark, what right back would you go for? Dallo needs to go. I would go for a Jake O'Brien. Of course you would. He's Irish. And he's so underrated. Right back. Do you know what I'd do? I'll try and get Pedro Porro out of Tottenham. Why not? I know they didn't go down in the end. Definitely would have gone for him if they'd been relegated. But Pedro Porro, well worth the risk. I think if you're going to go left and right back, they need to be Premier League proven. O'Brien is a good shout. I'm not going to disagree with you. I was only joking about the fact he's Irish. So, yeah. Nothing wrong with the Irish for obvious reasons. Irwin, Keane. But I'm just saying he'd be your first choice. Guys, Danny's just getting get the likes in. They cost nothing. We're on the road to 200 views. So if you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit it. Here comes the Tactical Devil raid. Johnny Comodin, first one in the house. Well, Danny jumped early, but that's why he's one of my mods. I can rely on him. Probably see Bilal in here in a minute. Tactical raids coming in. Make sure you're coming in, you're liking the video, and you're giving it a share if you can on your platforms. That would be amazing. We are on the road to 200. And I said 3 months to get there. We're already 17 in, and we haven't even started the counter from tomorrow. So we are off to a flyer. Guys, get in your players you want to see. I've gone over a lot of the obvious ones, midfielders, Lewis Hall, Douay. I said it again, Douay. Duff from West Ham as fullbacks in the left. Trevor's just asked me about a right back, so get right backs in that you think we should be going for. Jay, that is a great shout. Coyote is a great player. Actually, going back to when we were talking about strikers, Bournemouth, that young kiddie, that 19-year-old, Kapai, however you pronounce it, Junior Kupi, I think it's the pronunciation. I would go for him, and I would go for Brentford, obviously. Striker, but then if we're going to go for him, that would Coyote would not necessarily work. If I said finish his crystal ball classes. Yeah, Koopy, absolutely has. These sort of guys are great. Jarvis, welcome back. Thank you for the raid. Guys, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button when you come in, and the likes, please. Get the likes up. There's 20 of you currently in the house. You know, we should be over 30. I love that show. I can't pronounce his name, Gid. Ajayo. He is obviously Fernandez's replacement. They've only just brought him in. I think he'll be very expensive to get out because he's only 1 year in from when Fernandez went to Madrid, and we didn't bring him back, which is probably the biggest mistake we've made in quite a few years. He is very good, but they're not going to want to lose him don't forget them losing Kueda, not Quaresma. I keep going. That's why I keep going in my head. Quaresma. They're losing their left wing back, aren't they, to Chelsea in the summer? That was already a done deal. He's just dumped Stu. No, Stu has to go to bed. That's the problem. So do I. I've got work in the morning very early. Trevor Wade, indeed, like 90 million. So, guys, right backs. We're talking right backs at the moment. I don't know. I think Mazraoui can do a job for us. I don't think it's a necessity to go out and buy that right back. I do think the main necessity would be a left back because of Luke Shaw's inability to play 2 seasons in a row, especially as we're going to go 50, 60 games, hopefully. Mateta would be a great signing up front and would work, but he was then... I'm not sure if he's someone, Kevin, I would want to start over Sesko constantly. So Sesko would be my starting as a cup striker for us. And then we rotate Mateta and Sesko in the Champions League because we're going to need those games under their belt. It really did, HR. It really did. That year was terrible for us. Mazraoui can play left back as well. So there is cover there. We don't know where we're going to be with Amas at left back. It's dangerous ground. But for me, I think Dalot he's got a year left on his contract, and we should definitely be entertaining that. There are a lot of good left wingers. Again, Bournemouth, Truffet, great shout. Dorgu can probably potentially play some games at left back as well. Dave, you're right, because that way you get Dorgu and Cunha in the team. And he's got the legs to get up and down on the overlap. So it's about how much we've got, what our priorities are. And I just think now really the main priority is bringing in that right-sided centre-back and loaning out Lenny Euro. So we get Harry Maguire starts for United and we get a loanee in to cover. And then Euro gets a season under his belt and can come straight in ready to go. I would loan him maybe back to France or Spain, a mid-table team. If you're going to France, he could probably go top team, not go, obviously, maybe Marseille would work for him. It's a step up from where he was, someone like that. That's my opinion. But we're also, guys, we need to talk about the goalkeeper situation. Bayern Deer likely to leave. Tom Heaton is basically in his cheerleader phase, not expected to play any matches. Although I would play him in the cup matches. I highly rate Tom Heaton even now. And I would play him with the 23s as well. We all know about our superstar goalkeeper coming back from Bristol City. I think would want to play first team football. So I'm not sure we would be able to tempt him with just cup matches in VTech. Yeah, VTech is HR just said. I did wonder if anyone knew the name, so that's why I didn't say it straight away. Superb, probably a little bit taller, but him and Semi Lamans are nigh on the save. Gavin, welcome to the thing. Mateta failed his medical when he tried to move last season, as I understand it. They didn't want to take the risk. Gav, I'll come back to that in a sec. VTech. If we can get VTech to sign a deal on decent money for he becomes the second backup keeper, no different to Romero, Van der Hal, all of those backup keepers we've had with great goalkeepers, that works for me. And you say, yes, you play FA Cup. Yes, you play Carabao Cup. And once we're qualified in the Champions League in the group games, you can come in and play the rest of those group games, getting your European experience as well. And then we'll see where we are from that. But you've got to keep him sweet, or because if you don't and you fuck up and you go out of those competitions, he's going to want to leave. So that's not going to be great for us. Jarvis here, loaning out Euro. Didn't see that happening, although it would be sensible. Jarvis, it's about what's best for Euro's development. Euro has got every aspect we need him to have, but we can't give him the time as a right centre-back. Now we're not playing three at the back. Now, when we were playing three at the back, Euro could play alongside Harry Maguire and Martinez or Heaven. I'd be happy with Euro and Heaven either side of Maguire in a back three. I really would. Because I know Maguire's going to talk to him and they've got the pace to cover him. So perfect for us. It's just makes sense to loan him and get it. Worked for Arsenal. If we've learned anything about Saliba, that 2 years on loan, came back and he's an absolute monster in the Premier League. They just shouldn't let him take penalties. And less said about that, the better. I think the ball landed in my garden earlier. So Romero was technically a number one. Exactly. He was, Trevor. That's so true. He was as good as a number one. And VTech could be that good. It's concerning that we were amongst... It's concerning that we were almost going to get Delap and Gokares. I think Gyökeres works for us. I think Delap would have worked for us under Amarin. The way they press, the runs they make to allow other runners in and open up channels would work. And if you think about it, Sesko wasn't really working under Amarin, but has worked under Carrick, where Carrick has gone to the 4-2-3-1 and more being the 3-1 formation than having 2 10s and Sesko just playing flick offs and then picking up the second balls. So Gyökeres might have worked under Amarin, but I think Sesko was the more sensible buy. Euro's a left centre back all day. Trevor, I'm not sure about that. People keep saying this thing about Euro being a left centre back. He's right-footed for starters. He is one of the best progressors in the league when he has played at progressing the ball out from that position as a right centre back. And what I mean progressing, that's carrying and dribbling past players with the ball forward. And Martinez does it from the left. So again, they work well together. That means we can dribble out. It's like having two Rios. Well, just not as good as a Rio. But then if he is more if he feels more comfortable playing left centre back, is that why we're not seeing him work? It's definitely a dubious decision to play him right side if that's where he's comfortable. And then again, would Man United go out and misprofile a player? Of course they would. I actually think Gyökeres is good. I just think Arsenal made him look worse than what he is. Absolutely, totally agree with that. The guy's running channels, creating spaces, and they don't pass him the fucking ball. It's the same as Haaland at Man City. Like the amount of goals Haaland could score if they passed him the ball like any other team would. They would want to give him the ball. Although I don't want to talk about City on this channel, Haaland is the best striker in the world when you give him the ball. I think Gyökeres is mediocre at best, but you can't see him get better if you don't pass him a ball in a sensible position. Trevor says he said it from day one. As a left centre-back, the best game he's had was from the left. Mazraoui and Dorgu together could be well-balanced fullbacks, Dave. That's what I actually feel could work with Mazraoui at the right back. And we were talking about maybe Lewis Hall at left back or Diouf. I think that balances out beautifully as well. Lewis Hall, progressive carries, but he'll find the pass where Diouf from West Ham would chuck it in, which I'm all for that because we need to cross the ball more. Johnny Carode, it is the man who knows a thing or two. Euro, I think, is more suited to a high line, whereas Maguire is more suited to a deep block. It depends how you want to play going forward. And that's exactly it, Johnny, because against certain teams, we will play deep. Against certain teams, we will play high. When they're playing a low block, stopping us from scoring. We can't guarantee minutes, and we need development of Euro. And that's why I'll keep saying it. Loaning players to get development out of them. The Fletchers, they've come in, haven't really hit the ground running, get them out on loan. I think they can do a job. They've got great guidance in their dad, who was one of the best, bit part players we've had. Same as a Jason Park, Fletcher, people like that have always come in and just done a specific role, and I think his sons will be the same. I doubt both will make it at Man United, so loaning them makes sense. And then we can bring through Freights this season as a potential another midfielder. We can't bring all three through and give them valid minutes and time on the bench and training with the first team. By the stats, Sesko is becoming a great inside the box striker, gets his shots off. He does. He does. And that we don't create him enough chances on the deck. And it seems like when we do, he was putting them away. Normally a decent enough first touch, fast swivel, and we just keep going from there. Ahmad has been poor this season. I hope he steps up. He will step up. And if he doesn't, he'll be out the door because he's now going to be chased HR by Shea Lacey. And I think Lacey gets a lot of time in the cups. Sesko's developed this season as a forward, and we haven't been able to see him scud missile shots yet. Just wait until a few of them go in. We haven't, and he has got a hell of a strike on him. But the way we play with him, was it Ekatike he played with up front? I don't think it was Ekatike, is it? Someone beginning with E. he played off him, and basically that's what creates him his chance to be outside the box by having a striker in the box to pull the defenders back. He won't get those chances unless we play two up front, or there's just a defensive error and someone slips and it gives him space to hit one from outside the box, maybe. But as Has says, it is confidence, but his confidence has gone up. When I saw him against Fulham and scores that last second winner, I thought absolutely unreal. But then we dropped him. And I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Like, this doesn't help. We put him back to the bench. When you score a last second winner like that, you've got to start him next game. But I will then look at Alex Ferguson and go, how many goals did Solskjaer come off the bench and score winners, and he'll be back on the bench at the following season? Pende. Oh, was it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Don't worry, I was thinking it began with a E, but Apende was more of the front man, and then he would play the Teddy Sheringham sort of 10 role, or dual 10 role, and that's what gave him the space to get those shots off from outside the box. Do you remember the massive left foot swinger he had, I think 2 seasons ago from outside the box? Absolute, must have been 50 yards, bender straight in. So that pretty much covers everyone I want to cover and everything you guys need to hear from me, I think. And so now I've got, we'll say 25 minutes. We've got 23 watching. All of you, get me some players in that maybe you think we could talk about. We can have a quick look at, I'll have a quick look at their stats. I'm not going to keep chucking it up on the screen stats-wise. And let's finish the show with what you guys want to talk about. Trevor, that you can get some questions in. Get your questions in, guys. This is it. This is the last show about Manchester United 25-26 season. Okay? 25 minutes. I will give to you. Have your say. Come on. Get in the comments, guys. Come ask some questions. Don't care what it is. It can be about me. It can be about United. It can be about England. All I don't want is to talk about other teams or any real random stuff. Let's keep it football related. Your midfield options are great, but I doubt we will get Walton, though. But we've got to try, HR. That's all I say. They are great options, and that's why we go for them. We've got to chuck them out there. How much do you want for him? Give us a price. Okay, yes or no. We've got to do it, and then let the player make the decision. Manu Kone, stats mark. Okay, I'll have a look. I think the rumours are Liverpool are looking at him for the left wing. And it might have been a behind closed door deal, but whether that still goes through now under another manager, that'll be interesting. Right, so let's have a look. What are we looking for here? Hang on. Get this up. That doesn't work if I get rid of your message, does it? Right, come on, guys. Get more in. Like I say, keep the questions coming. We'll go. So we're looking at Manu Kone. Stats. So I'm going to look on Transfer Market. Jarvis, I'm sure you've got plenty of questions. You love being the other side of the camera. So Dave said Manu Kone with an E, not with an A. That's Y mark. So what do you want to look at? Is overall stats. So obviously AS Roma, central midfielder. He is a box-to-box midfielder, judging it on his stats. How did Roma do last year? I don't think they were at the best season, did they? Why is this not letting me scroll? Great. Bear with me. Transfer Market's playing up. 25 years of age, Kone. No, that's going nowhere. We're going to have to use a different website. Great. Trust me to get it not to work when I want it to. Starts giving me the information and totally disappeared off the thing. No, it's not allowing any stats for Kone. That's a weird one. I will use SofaScore. Right. Let's have a look. Okay. 25 years, French. He's 6'1", 6 roughly. Right-footed. So last year, I thought they were in Europa League. 29 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. No goals or assists in the Coppa Italia or Europa League. We played 7 games in that. Just managed to creep over the 7 rating. Let's have a look at his passing. Okay. These aren't bad stats. I can see why you asked me to have a look at. High accuracy, bit of a sideways passer going by that. What about his defensive duels? 29, 11 clean sheets. But that's not on him, that's on the team. Okay, won a lot of tackles. So he's a bit of a destroyer. Again, it's how much Roman would want for him. He's definitely in the Edison bracket. So if you're not sure on Edison, then surely you wouldn't be sure on Kone. And a lot of people seem to not want players from the Italian league. I'm not sure why. It doesn't make sense to me personally. But I will, Dave. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come back to him. I'll keep having a look for his stats and seeing why they're not coming up. Do you think Paul still go for Walton with Iola? It's an interesting one because maybe he goes for Scott. I think Haas there. Would love Fatinia from PSG. Trevor Wade. I would love a Ferrari, but I don't think I'm getting that anytime soon either. Top Man United 11 from the 90s. Whoa, star that one. I'll come back to that one. Jarvis. Yeah, sure. Like he would come, Trevor. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. We're getting Lamine Leao and Vinny Jr. on the left, right? And Leao on the right. Who do you think will have a big decision next season with we are not speaking much about? I think Newcastle. I would worry about and do you mean like team wise, Johnny, or do you mean as an individual player? I think team wise I'd say Newcastle. I think Shea Lacey is the one I really would rate for everyone to keep an eye on. And people aren't really talking about him because they haven't watched enough of him. Camara from Morocco is a great player. I know Jarvis has been a bit of a fan of him, and so has Danny and Sean, but from United versus Everybody normally talks about him a lot. Cheaper option, 20, 30 million. But again, it'd be a gamble. Young, I think he's about 23, is he not? So that would work. If all teams get the players they are rumoured to be getting, who will be the most successful next season in the Premier League? Chelsea, Trevor. Chelsea are going to be in the same boat we had this season. No European football, so we can laugh at them for a season. But if if they want to listen to Alonso, I think will be a good enough coach. It was too soon for him to go to Madrid from Leverkusen. It's probably too soon for him to go to Chelsea. If he'd waited one more month, he would have, well, not even a month, he would have been a Liverpool manager. They already have a team capable of playing wing backs. So I think he would work. I think Cucurella might stay now under Alonso, but I think Enzo goes. It'll be interesting to see how he utilises Cole Palmer. That's who I think. Alex Scott is such a good shout. Roma just qualified for the Champions League. Can't see them selling Kone, and that's it. So that's what I was going to say. Games played. They've scraped into the Champions League. And Roma aren't necessarily much of a selling club. Never really have been of their best players. They're a bit like a Man United. I'd rather see them play out their career or go on a free than sell them on. I would say obviously the one biggest player they've messed up on selling was probably Salah. Salah was there, wasn't he? Was it before or after he went Fiorentina? He went Chelsea, Fiorentina, Roma, and then the rest is history. So, yeah, that's a thing. Sorry, big season. Sorry, Mark, misspelled. So yeah, again, if it's teams, it's still Newcastle. I think Newcastle could spend their money very wise. Because I thought Gordon was starting to get too big for his boots at Newcastle, so that's probably why they got rid of him. What United player will have a big season for us? Yeah, for us, I think it's Shea Lacey. John, I answered your question. I thought that's what you meant. Quenda chooses Chelsea over us, and he didn't want to play wing back. Yeah, and he also wanted to choose and not be and stay there for a year. Mark, most crazy UFO story. Right, Kev, I'll come back to that. I'm pretty sure I said keep it football related. Right, now this is Jarvis's best United team from the 90s. So I'm going to challenge all of you now, unless you're typing right this second as I say it. Put your best team in from the 90s. I'd love to see what you put up. And see, it will tell me a lot about your ages and who you go for. My top 11 from the 90s: Schmeichel, Parker, Bruce, Pallister, Irwin. 100% probably the best ever across the board. Back line: Kanchelskis, Keane, Ince, Giggs, Cantona, Cole. Okay. So Jarvis, I'll give you mine. Obviously, Schmeichel in goal. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with Schmeichel in goal. I am going to chuck Gary Neville in as right back over Paul Parker, personally. I will go for Bruce and Pallister at the back and Irwin left back. I 100% agree. But I'd have to go Beckham as right wing. Then this is something that seems to always be forgotten about when people state Premier League best midfield or 90s. Best midfield 90s / Premier League, Manchester United, Roy Keane, Brian Robson. Brian Robson played the first season in the Premier League, was still at the club, and therefore obviously was playing in the 90s. Ryan Giggs all day on the left. Up front, Eric Cantona and Mark Hughes. So, guys, you probably will get to have a laugh at me when I answer Trevor's one at the end about the UFO. Neville over Parker, Dave says. So, Johnny Kamari, Gary Neville, yeah, Schmeichel. We just won't even say Schmeichel unless someone absolutely shocks me. Gary Neville, Bruce, Pallister, Irwin, Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Giggs, Cantona, Cole. Oh, Johnny's gone all in. Van der Hout, Stam, Ince, Sharp, and Hughes. Okay. Cole is definitely, I understand people choosing Cole over Hughes for goals, but Mark Hughes was an idol, so I can't do it. Stam has to be in there and Nev over Parker. Stam was one and a half seasons, so I understand why people don't put him in their United. But I think Jaap Stam was one of the best all-time centre-backs in the Premier League. And if I was going to take one out, I would take Pallister out and play Stam with Bruce. But it's probably the one position whenever I get asked that question that I think, don't pick him. Owen at left back is also guaranteed, or you could have Owen at right back, exactly. But I don't know then who you pick at left back if you pick Owen for the right back position, because I think he was hands down our best ever left back, even though he was right footed and obviously a massive goal scorer. Beckham over Kanchelskis, Danny says. Hughes and York over Cole. Ooh, Dave, York over the Cole. I was 50-50 over Cole and Hughes. I think everyone always is. My thinking is to focus purely on the 1990s. Oh, you just mean okay. And how the players performed during that decade. That's why I've gone with those selections. Brian Robson was still at the top of his game in the 90s, so I'm still putting him in there. You're finding it very hard for me to get him out there. I'll probably try and get Matt Busby and Bobby Charlton in if I could, and they never even played. Trevor says Schmeichel, Irwin, Vidic. Vidic is outside of the 90s. Was he not? Stan, Parker, Giggs, Keane, Scholes, Beckham, Van Nistelrooy, definitely in the outside of the 90s. That was 2000. And Cantona. See you later. Has been great. Thank you for your interactions, mate, for tonight. Like I say, we're live again Tuesday, so I'll see you in there if you want to come. It will be England based, but we'll be talking about Kobe Mainoo and a few other players as well that will be playing their friendlies around that time. That's what I thought, Johnny. I did think that. Webb over Blackmore, anyone? Sharp over Giggs. If you're going to say in the 90s, you could go Lee Sharp over Ryan Giggs because of the age. And you can even go Sharp on the right and Giggs on the left. God, I'm showing my age. And I was young, but they were, lived and breathed literally more than ever when you're in your teenage years. Football, don't you? Right. We are 9 minutes left. I said I'd answer Trevor's one. But before I do, guys, where are we at with the likes? We should be over 20 likes. We should be smashing that subscribe button. And I want all of you to make sure you got that notification bell turned on for the England content for the World Cup. I'll be doing it. Jarvis, can you just let me know if you are next season? There was a question asked about watch-alongs from Champions League. If you're doing watch-alongs from Man United Champions League, or you're thinking about it at least, I will send them your way regarding the channel. Right, Trevor. Best UFO story I ever heard is probably the most worrying one. And it was in Brazil. It was, I'm trying to remember the details. I'm a little bit fuzzy on the details, but basically the Brazilian army have covered up multiple sightings of UFOs. And they're meant to have covered one up before the Roswell incident. And when someone came out of government, they basically said, oh, yeah, it crashed. We took a body out. The body didn't survive, but he did speak to us. I'm just trying to find the story. I will have the story for you and link-wise tomorrow night, and I will give it to you. But that's the best one. But basically, out of all the stories you hear about covers up and things, this ex-Brazilian, I don't know if it was prime minister or the leader of the government, whatever it was, came out and went, oh, yeah, it did happen. And it was obviously a massive country secret. And it's just, God knows what rules he broke by doing it. That's probably the best UFO. But the one I still love hearing is the age-old Area 51 stuff regarding the reverse engineering of the UFO. With I think it's 21, is it? The program, is it called 21? The film that's just been made about Bob Lazar and everything he found. That's worth a watch. Anyone who, you don't have to be a believer in aliens, you don't have to be a believer in UFOs, but you just need to go watch it and think about reverse engineering, and it opens the mind a little bit different. But Trevor knows about my darker side, about I love ancient history and believe there's lost technology in the world. Johnny Kanchelskis and Giggs were insane. What about Carl Poborski, Johnny Commode? I loved it when we brought him in after the Euros. Trevor Wade, the light bulb went out there. 14 likes, 21 watching. Come on, guys. Definitely no arguments. Dave. Right, so this is what Jarvis said. I'll put it up, so obviously it's on screen. Read it out to you guys. I'm thinking of doing watch along for the Champions League matches because it's a bit too late to do a post-match reaction when the game finishes at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Bear in mind, Jarvis is from Norway, so he's +1 on the UK kickoff time. So it's 9 o'clock to him, so it's like 11 o'clock finish. He's going to midnight, and it makes it very hard to do a breakdown. And he'd probably do it, I'm guessing, Jarvis, on the Thursday night, your breakdown, most likely, as a breakdown review, looking forward to the next game on a Friday or Saturday night, depending on when we played, because we will be playing almost 3 times a week. So get over there, subscribe to the Tactical Devils if you're not already. A lot of you I know already are. And he's also going to do a couple of Norway watch-alongs for the World Cup. And potentially some England ones, maybe, if the times align with Stu. That pretty much covers everything tonight, guys. That is the roundup of Man United's entire season, right? We've, over the last 3 shows, we've looked at the review of the last season. We've looked at who we need to get rid of, what areas we need to work on, and players we'd love to bring in. But we now need to look forward to the amazing spectacle of the World Cup, okay? And I will be covering World Cup here. So, as a whole, that will do us tonight for United. And then I think the right way to finish the season is not just talking about what happened, but talking about what comes next, because whatever the view was on the squad, whatever the view of the season, and whatever the view of the manager, one thing is obvious. This summer really, really matters. I implored you not to just jump into believing every single article. You need the bombers. Stay away from Romaro at the moment because he's trying to push more and more views on his YouTube channel. Wait for La Bomba from David Ornstein as your go-to. Believe what you want to believe, but it's only real when a medical's been booked, okay? Think about, does that player make sense for Manchester United, or is it just noise? Where we've talked tonight about profiles of the players, what they need to do, where they need to fit into Michael Carrick's system, and what Man United need more than anything, about positivity, the running forward, not leaving midfield exposed by having midfielders who can't run. We don't need random signings. We don't need big names on the back of the shirts. We don't need the Ronaldos, Vinicius Juniors. We need hard work. We need people who are going to live and die for the badge on the shirt. And that's what Manchester United need to do in the 26-27 season to stay relevant more than anything. We've got 3rd place. We need to go 1 better, 2 better, and we've won the league. And the only way we can do that is to get a hard-working team from the manager. So they need a priority. They need structure. They need the right profiles. And they need decisions. And that actually makes football sense, on which this channel's all about. That is what tonight was about. Not just who is a good player, not just who is trending, and there's just always players trending for Manchester United, right? But who fits, who solves the problem, and what kind of window gives Manchester United a better base going into next season. And for United Lens, that ends the season on the main club side, but it doesn't end there. So to everyone who has watched, commented, joined in live chat, subscribed, disagreed with me, which I love, agreed with me even better, backed the channel, found the channel new. I've only been going since November. You've seen me on other channels, Balls Out, Tactical Devils. Maybe you even see me on an FUTV in the earlier stages on the Big Up platform for Adam does with that. Genuinely, I can't thank you enough. But we had previews, review scorecards, big talking points, coach's view, which is where I will go more in depth and you can learn a little bit about how I think. But now we're going to do that for England. We're going to go into the World Cup. We're going to look at the England games through our United red tinted glasses, which is the best way to do it. We're going to focus on Kobe Mainu, Ahmad, Sammy Lamens if he plays over Courtois, who I'm guessing wasn't picked. So Lemens could be the starting goalkeeper for Belgium. I was going to say Bogner, which is near me. It's another B. Big things to come on the channel, okay? And I need you here with me. Help me grow in it. Keep it coming. Keep subscribing. Push it out there. And like I say, I can't thank you guys enough. So from me, it's good night.